Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Whitney. Welcome to Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots. And today I've got 5 farmhouse decor DIYs. These could be regular decor or they could be perfect for tiered trays, but in any event, let's get started. So here is our first DIY. This is a decor wall shelf I got at Target. Dollar Spot. It's a $5 item and it was around Easter time. You'll see a bunny there. So I'm going to turn this into a riser. I'm going to use these unfinished wood ball knobs. I got those at Hobby Lobby so many years ago. I knew I was going to use them for feet just because they had the flat end. So what I'm going to do is just going to grab my wood glue and I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue right in the middle and I'm going to glue each one of those knobs on. And what I did when I was making this is that once I secured those on, I kind of weighted them down. I left it hanging on the table like that, like you see. I left it hanging off the table and then I just weighted it down with some heavy items. I just piled up the most random junk you could find and I left it like that overnight. So when I came back to it the next day, the wood glue had cured and those were not coming off anywhere. And that's actually decently weighted shelf there. So I'm holding it there so they're not coming off. See guys? See? I show you. See? I proved. Kidding. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the whole thing. What is it? Oh, cashew. Bless you. Yeah, I know. Anyways, I'm Waverly chalk paint and cashew. I wanted to go a cream color. The rest of everything in here is going to be black and white and brown and gray. We're going to add all these colors together. I didn't stick with a theme on this one. Well, I guess I sort of did. It's all farmhouse. But for this particular piece, this is the only one that I'm painting this cashew color or a cream color, you could say. So basically, I ended up only giving it one coat. But it did take a lot of paint, and it took a decent amount of time to get this thing covered. It also had, little inside edges. Now, see, if you left it the way it came, it didn't have, some of the pieces weren't covered at all. You could just see unfinished wood or particle wood, and I didn't like that. So here we gave her a nice, beautiful coat, and we're going to start distressing with the Waverly Antique Wax. And this one, I kind of just went at it. You guys, my distressing style is kind of just all over the place. I don't necessarily have a technique. I just kind of go at it with a brush and see what happens. Now, my paper towel I'm using here wasn't exactly pulling off the wax the way I wanted it to. So eventually you'll see I will grab a baby wipe. Now, baby wipes are amazing because they can really fix anything that you might think is an oopsie. And I almost said an owie. I'm so used to doing that, you guys know. If you've been here for a while, you know that I burned myself, I cut myself, yeah. It's called crafting. It's a survival sport, you guys know. They should do that. They should do don't go out into the woods or the desert and try to survive 30 days. Just go into a craft room with no gloves or, silicone mats and see who comes out. I'm telling you, I'd be able to survive. I just, randomly throwing things out that something's firing up there in my brain, but I'm not making any sense. But anyways, moving on. Here's where the baby wipe comes in and the magic starts to come alive, in my opinion. I'm kind of correcting. I'm making some space or some of the spots I'm kind of getting off the actual just raw brush strokes. I didn't want it to be that apparent, but I also kind of wanted those edges to have more of a, how do you say, I wanted them to be more dramatic so you could see a lot of the edges. So I take my brush and I have this sped up 3.5 times, guys, but even when I'm going on normal time, I'm moving that brush super fast because I just want the bristles to touch the edges of things very, very quickly. But then also halfway through, it's like, nope, start doing the middle piece or start doing a large piece. It just depends on how much paint or wax I have loaded in on the brush I'm using. And that's a chip brush. I'm still forever looking for these little tiny short-handled brushes. And one of my lovely, lovely supporters, been with me forever, mentioned in one of my other videos that you get them little tiny apple barrel or plaid at Walmart. I've been to so many Walmarts, I can't find them, and they're not online. So I ended up getting that chip brush at Lowe's because it's a very thin one. But I do have a set of chip brushes that I use, and those are in my Amazon shop. Should you guys want to take a peek and see if you want to see any tools I'm using, they're always in my Amazon shop. So after I kind of went at it a little bit too much with the antique wax, I wanted to add some more of the cashew back to it because, again, I still wanted that light cream color to show through. So I went back at it, and it kind of started to grow on me with more of the lighter color distressing as opposed to a darker color distressing. So it started to look actually really chalky, and I was starting to really love every second of that. So again, I am loading up the ends of the brushes. I'm kind of tapping it off to the side, but I'm just going at that really, really fast. And then that's how I left it. I didn't go back at it with more wax. I left it the way it was. So the wax basically darkened our first layer of that cashew colored paint. And then I came back with more cashew on top to bring the cream color that I wanted back into it. And I love how it turned out. It's almost like every single one of these is a experiment to see what type of happy accident I can come up with. I watch a bunch of videos. I watch a bunch of different people do wonderful things. And this is kind of like a culmination of all of them. And then you've got a little bit of Whitney mixed in there. So here I thought I'd show you guys how I kind of set it up a little bit. So this is my first time doing this and I feel a little weird. You guys let me know if you like this particular thing. You want to see how I stage it before I take a picture. So that's just a pick from Michael's, and these are 2 pieces I've cut off of another pick that I didn't use for a previous project, and I'm just pushing them in here. Now I was struggling a little bit because this is the first time I've actually recorded with my phone while trying to stage something. Man, you guys, that is hard to do one-handed. Is anybody out there with me? Anybody else? Pat me on the back, pat me on the shoulder, be like, I'm with you, sister, because dang. Yeah, that's like, Whitney, this is going to be a little weird looking, but we'll see. Maybe next time I'll bring a tripod out there so you can actually see more of it. I mean, you're going to see my ugly garage. So I added some of these things I had already made. I've made this in a past video for a tier tray that was more of a Easter or spring thing. And then here's these little cement looking decorative balls that I made in a video back. And I just felt like it needed to add some more stuff that wasn't necessarily attached to this video, except for here, this little chicken. This is part of this video. You guys will see it. That little girl there, that's the last DIY in this video. But look how cute the staging turned out. And that's just grabbing a few things that I had in the house, and I wanted to put it together. And I just know if you guys like to see that, want to see it come alive before I take the pictures, you tell me in the comments below. Let me know. Is this something that maybe you guys would like to see me add to my videos? Different staging techniques or different staging ideas for the things that we're making. You guys tell me. I love that color. It's so cute. See, it's just still pictures I think sometimes don't give you the actual benefit of seeing what the actual item is, because sometimes the pictures just don't do it justice. All right, so second DIY here. This little home sign I got at Dollar Tree. It was so random, and I've been to a bunch of Dollar Trees. Also, tell me why that just came out so easy. Sanded it down, and then of course we're going to take our heat gun to get the label off the back, and I am going to paint it black. Now you're going to see other things here because I thought that I would be slick and just paint everything for one video at one time. And let me tell you, in the editing process, this was not easy. So I'm going to end up probably trying to do this stuff the way I did it before. I'm still trying to find a flow, trying to find a good spot and how to get things a little bit easier, faster for the editing side of it once I'm done making everything. So this is a Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, so it's a black color. And I just took my time and I painted every little nook and cranny. Now there's a couple spots in here that were a little bit difficult to get with. I may have gone at it with a smaller brush. I started to ruin the bristles a little bit, kind of trying to, shimmy them in there between, I think it's at the bottom between the E, the O and the E, or the M and the E right there. But I got the whole thing covered in black. And I did the back also, so painted the whole thing, and it turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I was really happy with it, but my idea for this video was more farmhouse, more country farmhouse per se. So we've got chickens and eggs and burlap and twine and raffia, those types of things. It was kind of like basically on an actual farm, kind of farmhouse. So here's what it looks like when it's done. Already looks better the way it is. So instead of putting a flower back in it, I'm going to take one of these faux eggs right here that you see. Now this is a bag I got at Hobby Lobby years ago. They still sell them like that. I'm pretty sure I got it at Easter, but I think somewhere I had mentioned, or I've seen before, that you can get these miniature eggs at Hobby Lobby in just their, their little, it's like over by the florals or the silk section. So anyways, I took this little miniature egg. I didn't cut it in half, but I cut it at a diagonal to just cut the back end of it off. Come on, Whitney. Let's use our big girl words. So you can see here, I cut just one of the round piece off the back. So it's kind of like at a diagonal almost. I needed a flat part so I could glue it to the O. So we can now have the little middle of our O is a cute little farm egg. So cute. But Whitney, don't glue it down yet. Oh no. What have you done? Take that back off. Durr. I need to distress it. What kind of what kind of farmhouse is this without white chalk paint distressing? Now you guys, this brush right here is horrible. Do not get it. I bought this in a 2-pack off of Amazon and I will not be using it. These are folk art brushes. I dislike them greatly. I don't want to use the word hate because my mother had always taught me hate is a very strong word. She hates the word hate. We hate the word hate. We don't want to use it. I dislike this brush greatly. It caused me a bunch of problems on many of my distressing items. Why I kept using it, I don't know. It shed like crazy. I even tried cutting some of the bristles, didn't work. Anyways, just distress till your heart is content. And I'm using my heat gun here to reactivate that hot glue. So I was like thinking I'm all slick, but I did eventually have to put a little squirt of just some fresh hot glue underneath there. But that heat gun reactivated that hot glue super. It was all bubbly. It was nice and, molten lava hot. I'm surprised I didn't stick my finger in it just by default. So moving on, next we're going to make kind of like a little tiny nest type thing. So of course I've got that Dollar Tree Spanish moss in that nice brownish gray color. It's just very rusticy. It's very farmhouse to me. I love this color in a lot of things. And a lot of times if you think it doesn't match, just throw it in there and see what happens and you'll see wonderful things happen. So I made a little nest and I trimmed it with scissors. Now this is the raffia that of course I tangled into a million knots that came off of the top of the package there of those faux eggs. So I finally got a strand out and I wrapped it around 2 of my fingers about 6 times. Take it off your fingers. I'm going to pinch it in the middle and I'm going to make a little bow out of it. Now this is really tiny. My fingernails were getting on my nerves, but in any event, once you take it off your fingers, you're going to try to pinch it, keep it secure in the middle, and then you're going to take another strand and just tie a knot in the middle. So here I'm going to see, you can wrap it around the middle should you choose to, but I didn't need that big of a binding in the middle. So here I'm just holding it down with my middle finger on the left side, and then I'm using my right hand in order to make that knot. You're basically tying a knot in the middle of that little guy there. So you see after I pull them together, you can see how the bow kind of comes alive. So we're just going to glue that right underneath the egg. So I don't need a huge bow, just a cute little tiny bow. And again, we're reusing stuff off of packaging. I've saved raffia when it comes off of gifts, if it comes off of vases that people get you. Now that's cute and you can stop right there. Except for I noticed that I didn't distress the rest of the piece, so the outsides and the edges. All optional. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. Also, if you have the same sign from Dollar Tree, by all means, let me know what you guys did with it, or the color palettes that you guys chose. I got see how super messy that brush is? I don't know why I kept using it. It just put too many splotches. And even then, I wish I could have cleaned up a little bit on that H and the M. That brush is not good for what I tried to get it for. I really need to get those little short handle brushes. So here I zoomed in because I was so out of frame. So I'm sorry if the quality isn't that good, but this was like a last minute item. When I was doing my little chicken at the end, I added more to it. So you're going to see here, that's the top left is that little chicken coming alive. I added a little bit more Spanish moss underneath, and then this is little pieces that I cut off of a sprig from a boxwood stem I got from Walmart. I have a couple junk buckets that I keep in my stash that's just little odds and ends of things that fall off. So a berry here, a piece of raffia here, some wood remnants off of a paint stick or a palette that you've cut. Anything, just tiny little things that you don't want to get rid of. I have a bunch of finger bows I've already made when I was practicing. Those are in the same bucket. Just grab these things and put them in a bucket. So I added them to that, and I think the addition of the green threw it over the top for me because there was just something missing, something that I just couldn't put my finger on. And I think that happened with almost all of these next ones too. There was just some little something that I needed to do to make it just finally come alive, something to finally just say, Whitney, here I am. What do you guys think? So just for a cute little sign, change the color, add a little egg in the middle. We made it into a little farmhouse home sign. You can't say no. That's just cute little tabletop shelf decor, something you can throw in just to fill spaces and make you happy. All right, so next one is these little wooden houses I got at Michael's. You can get them like towards the register. They were $1 at the time when I purchased them. You can get squares and circles and octagons. So I got these little house shapes. And now, obviously, that is a Dollar Tree little wood palette. And here are some remnants of a palette from a less than successful DIY that never made it to fruition. It ended up just obviously, as you can see, this is what happened. All the pieces got cut up. It just didn't work out. So I'm going to use these pieces as the roofs. I'm going to add them to the top of the roof of each of my guys here. And the pieces of the pallet that are still attached, it was like the cross beams of the pallet, ends up looking so cute, like little roof tiles, or almost like the supports of a roof if it was to be, you know, like a little shack or a little birdhouse was nailed together. So I left them on there. Also, for, you know, to be totally honest, it was a nightmare trying to remove them. I was destroying the pieces of wood, so I left them on there, and it ended up being to my advantage. So 2 of them were a little bit shorter, as you can see here. The one on the left ends up being perfect, but then these guys here have to be placed a little bit further down. So you see a gap at the top of those, but we're going to cover that. By the time we're done, I'm putting Spanish moss up there just to let you know right up front. You are not going to see that. So this one right here that I'm working on, those are perfectly shaped, perfect size and everything. Again, this is wood hot glue, but that glue gun is a nightmare. It is not happy with me, so I need to get a different glue gun. I'm thinking maybe just, it says it's for full-size glue sticks, but maybe it's not, because I had to really jam some of them glue sticks in there. And it's like after the fact that the glue just puddles out on my silicone mat to the side. So anyways, I used some hot wood glue. Otherwise, just use regular wood glue and then some regular hot glue in combination, and just, you know, to get them secured. They are unpainted. It's raw wood, so wood glue is obviously your best choice. But in any event, this wood hot glue has worked on everything I've used it on. It's just my glue gun that I'm using it in, not so hot. We'll have to see. I'll have to get a different one. But everything I've used that wood glue for, it's a Surebonder brand hot glue for wood hot glue. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome and very, very quick, which is what we all are, as somewhat impatient crafters. And I'm pretty much right there with all of you. If you don't want to wait, I'm with you on that. And again, reactivate any glue that you can't pull up with a heat gun, and it comes right off. It's kind of amazing. So here is me again. You'll see my little home sign I've already painted. You see the chicken painted. We're going to come back to that later. Now we have both of our houses. The glue has already solidified and it's set. So paint them all over, front, tops, back, sides. Paint everything black, both pieces. This is, again, Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, which is basically black. It's called ink. Painted everything in this video with that mainly. So we're putting a nice thick coat, and nothing took more than 1 coat. So this Waverly chalk paint, I mean, I've had it for a while. I'm surprised. I had to mix it up because I took that small hiatus, but it's some good paint. I can't be angry. I like it. So there we go. We got both of them painted. Now we're going to do our distressing in white. Now see, I grabbed my chip brush because I was learning the opposite way. That other brush was horrible. I love when I'm putting white over black. See how it just like, it hits every single edge and it comes alive, in my opinion. Now I'm not putting any on the front because we're going to use some paper and we're going to put some cute little graphics I have that I got on Etsy. But look how that chalk is picked up on every edge. That is my favorite part of distressing things. And again, that's personal preference. If you're not someone who enjoys it, leave this out. Leave that step out. But look how cute it is. It makes me so happy. So here's 2 scrapbook papers I have had since the beginning of time, or since dirt has been invented. So it doesn't matter where I got them, because I can guarantee you will never find them. This is one of those diamonds in the rough. That was like, wow, when has she had it? Since 1964. No, I'm kidding. But they're super old, guys. This is like paper I've had since I started scrapbooking many moons ago. So I just kind of stuck the corner into the edges of the houses, and I used it to my advantage. First one I traced out, and this one I was like, well, just use your fingers and bend the paper and then cut it out. So this one was way easier cutting those pieces of paper out than anything I had ever seen. So they fit perfectly. I used the corner of the paper to my advantage. And then I'm using hot glue. And I have this cute little tiny brayer. You guys, I got new brayers from Amazon. I got a set of 3. And this is the tiniest one. So it works on these little tiny nooks and crannies of these little spots. And I'm upset that look how cute it is. Look how tiny and cute it is. Like, you just want to hold it and talk to it, which I'm weird, so I did. But anyways, I'm using hot glue instead of a wood glue or, scrapbooking stuff. The hot glue held it down great. And then I'm using my finger sander to get the edges straight, just to get that, if there's any little excess off there. And then for the parts I couldn't get, we're going to secure that little corner down that was coming up. But the parts I couldn't get, I kind of used a little bit of my scissors and cleaned it up just on those edges. And again, that finger sander is amazing. So is the other sander off to the right. I love them. I cannot be more happy. And if you guys ever need anything, if you're in the market for it, check out my Amazon shop. Those sanders are listed in there. They're very affordable and they're very, very good. I love using 80 grit sandpaper. If it's not the roughest sandpaper, I'm not happy. Now this right here, you guys, this is from artist Jennifer Hugh, from mostly in my world known for those very amazing farmhouse calendars at Hobby Lobby, at Dollar Tree. They have never been in Las Vegas that I could find. I was upset. So I just went to her Etsy page and I supported her directly and I bought her graphics off of her Etsy page. I will put that in the description should you want to visit her shop. And I got a bunch of these different printouts. I got some lemon themed stuff. I got a whole bunch of stuff. So I chose the wool and the locally grown because each of those were complementary to the scrapbook paper that I picked. But I'm noticing that they get a little lost, so I'm going to put them on a black piece of cardstock just to give a very thin border around each of them. So I'm trying to cut them a little bit straighter here because I am human and I cut them by hand. So I'm apologizing up front. There's a few times here, you guys, I'm still out of frame because, I don't know, maybe I was low on water that day, dehydrated, not forgetting that I record these things for, you know, for a reason. So here I pulled it back up to see. This is my scrapbooking equipment I've had for many years. This is a Fisker's cutter. It's great. But do you see how that little thin border of black added to this just makes it pop? It's like perfect. It's the perfect addition. Now, none of this is Mod Podged. None of it is going to be sealed either. This is an indoor piece, so don't get it wet. Don't throw it around. Don't play catch with it. It's just a shelf decor. So it's meant to be looked at, not to be touched by 8 billion people. And if people are coming in your house and touching your stuff to a certain degree, you have to question who you let in your house, okay? Kidding. Sort of. Anyways, I'm using my scrapbook adhesive, and that stuff in that little blue thing off to the right, that's an AdTech brand. I've used it for years. I don't even know if they make it anymore, guys, because I haven't shopped for scrapbooking supplies in years. But in any event, I use that for most of the paper to paper, and it doesn't move. It doesn't fail. Everything I've made, even from 20 years ago, is still solid and nothing has come apart. So I love that AdTech stuff. I was getting it at Hobby Lobby, but I'm not sure. It's probably been more than 5 years since I've bought adhesive for scrapbooking. But if you guys have something you use, let me know. Look how cute they are. See, like, you could stop here if you wanted to, but again, I got to hide that little spot on that one on the right. So we've got Spanish moss and then some black twine because we're going to make some bows for it, of course. So now I'm going to take the Spanish moss, and the first thing I'm going to do is find another stick and find another stick. Yeah. Short little subsection here, The last couple videos, you guys, for some reason, this is the never-ending Dollar Tree bag of Spanish moss sticks, but I used to say bag of sticks. I'm sorry, Spanish moss. So I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to embrace the fact that I get sticks in my moss, and we're going to add them to this project. But look how cute it is. All I did was just literally glue just grab a wad of Spanish moss and stick it on the top, and now nobody knows that roof didn't touch. The little pieces didn't touch at the peak of the roof. Nobody has to know. So don't tell anyone, guys, okay? Don't tell anyone. But that's how you fix things and still be able to use some supplies, because I wasn't going to rip apart another Dollar Tree palette in order to do that. But I think it turned out wonderful. And on this one, I'm just putting it off to the side just to kind of make things cute and matching. Makes me happy. So there's my Dollar Tree sticks, my Spanish sticks. We'll call them Spanish sticks, Spanish moss sticks. So anyways, I'm cutting 2 pieces of twine because these are going to be the pieces that we tie our bows together with. Wrap your twine around your fingers. I used 3 fingers this time for a smaller bow. I wrapped it around 6 times. And at first I thought I was going to tie it to the stick, but we're just going to do the normal thing, and we're just going to tie the bow, and we're going to tie a knot around the center of the bundle that we created with our fingers. And then I tie a square knot, so it's left over right, right over left. I tie a square knot to make sure they don't come out, and then I pulled all the little tails down, but eventually, guys, I cut those off. So I thought it was kind of interfering with the little graphic. I didn't want it to be in the way too much. So I'm just adding the stick behind it. It's very subtle. In some of the pictures, you can't really see it, but when you're seeing it in person, it's there. It has its own presence. It adds its little bit of rustic to it, and I figured I am not going to let these bundle of sticks get me down. I'm going to add them to my pieces. So in any event, here's me cutting off the tails, and then I'm just adding the bow right there off to the side. And it just gives a cute little subtle piece of happiness right there to it. Also, there's an inside story to it, so every time I see it, I can lovingly look at it and say, wow, remember that bag of Dollar Tree Spanish sticks I got? Kidding. Spanish moss, it should say, with a side of sticks. So here's this main one. At first I thought I wanted to put it like all the way down at the bottom. Oh, sorry. Getting ahead of yourself there, Whitney. We need to make another twine bow, so do the same thing. I wrapped it around 3 fingers 6 times, and I'm securing it in the middle, just tying a square knot. And then this time I already know I'm not going to leave the tails, so I'm just going to cut all the tails off right away and get things ready to get positioned. So it's just a cute little bow. I thought about putting it on the corner, but then I was like, well, add more moss, and then it's like, no, I'm going to end up going overboard with it. Just glue it to the top. So I glued the stick at a diagonal up at the top, and then I'm putting the bow right next to it. I'm sorry, right underneath that stick. And then you kind of fluffing out the little loops just so it'll look more like a bow. I always end up doing that. Try to take those loops and like spread them out while I'm holding it down, just in case the glue helps it stay open a little bit. And I loved it, but I felt like there was still missing something. So I was like, what can I do? Something's still not there. So I thought this was a stupid idea. Don't do this. Grabbed a Sharpie. And then you're going to see in a second right there, I wrote all over it. Then I did a second time, and I'm like, okay, well, no, this one. Why did I pick up the second one? Whitney, seriously. And then mess it up on that side too. Look, wrote all over it. Upset at myself. Had to keep thinking, what can I do? This is also my stamping ink pads I've had for ages. And I just took some of that ink off of there, and I just kind of shaded in on the edges. So everything that we used the sander on, it still gave you rounded corners. I just kind of, I forget what you call this. I haven't been stamping or scrapbooking in years, but some of these little creases, I had to get the Sharpie back out to try to hide some of those creases that we couldn't get into. And then I used my little silicone spatula for holding down hot items. I put some ink on the end of that, and then I got that right there in the creases. That was making me happy. So now I'm happy. I was very scared that I went and I did all that work, and that because I took the Sharpie and basically had big old, car accidents all over the side, that it was going to be having to trash it, or start over, and that would have been, I would have done it, but I wouldn't have been happy. But they're great. What do you guys think about that little scrapbooking ink savior right there? Tell me what you guys think, or if you have other ideas on how to, save yourself from yourself. Because, man, Whitney, why did I do that? You see me? Did you see that? If I hadn't recorded it, I wouldn't have to tell nobody. I still picked up the second one and went at it with Sharpie, even though I messed up the first one. Seriously, Whitney. Come on, man. Rookie mistake. What do you guys think? I love these little houses. They're just so happy. And they're good year-round. They're good year-round. You can throw anything around them, and it'll apply to that holiday, especially for fall. Obviously, great colors for fall. So now here's our last one. This is our cute little chicken thing. It's a chicken thing. So this is a 4-inch embroidery hoop. I got this at Michael's. No. This was Walmart. This was a Walmart purchase a long time ago. Super cheap. I think it was like 50 cents or 47 cents. This is a little Dollar Tree sign that I got a while ago. I didn't want the full sign, but I did want that chicken off the top. So I just scored it, and it came right off after about, 6 or 7 little scores with a very, very brand new razor blade. Back to my painting session, which, again, I'm going to be doing things a little differently, guys, at least because this was a little bit of a mess for the editing. Everything I've done before has been fine and dandy, but this was a mess for editing. So paint your chicken front, back, sides. It's got some ridges in, like the top and then the little waddle. So make sure you get your chicken all covered in that Waverly black chalk paint. And then now I'm taking the antique wax, Waverly antique wax, and I am covering the embroidery hoop all over. Wasn't sure how much of it was going to show. I do know that I was going to put burlap in it, but I didn't know which side. I originally was going to work with the inside of it, and then I ended up putting everything on the outside, so only the outside of the ring was showing. But at this point, I didn't know what I was doing, so I just painted the whole thing with the Waverly chalk paint. So here's our finished products. We're going to open up our loop, and then there's my junk bucket. I had the perfect size of some burlap piece left, but it did have a crease in it, so I'm kind of warming it up, trying to somewhat iron it out. with that little crease. And then I'm just putting this right in the center and doing your classic embroidery hoop. Get that on there and then tighten it up, or struggle with it for 10 minutes and open it up more. Come on, Whitney. It's not your first time. There you go. Tighten it up a little bit and then just get a really good secure hold. And here, see there, I put the chicken inside. This is technically the back of it. I thought I was going to work in the back of it, but I didn't. So here, distressing with the white chalk paint, the little chickie. And that was fast. So now I'm cutting off all of the extra burlap. Now I have a very good seal on that embroidery hoop. It is very, very tight. It is not coming undone, but I was worried that just if it gets moved around, I kept pushing it just to make sure I wasn't doing it. So in any event, I kind of did it off camera or out of frame, but I did put a bead of hot glue around the inside of it in the back. So you're going to go inside the frame and just put a long bead of hot glue all around there so it won't come off should the hoop come undone. But I did also glue the holder to the top of it too. So here I went through there I am, there's your bead of hot glue that I did mostly off camera. And then I let that sit. We're going to add the chicken to the front this time because I decided I didn't want to do it on the inside back. I like the front. It was very, very tight. Also, this is me messing around with my junk bucket trying to find things. I did find a finger bow I planned on using. And then I brought my little home sign back as inspiration because I did have extra pieces of raffia in my junk bucket. So we're actually going to put this together now. We're going to glue the chicken down right in the middle. Sort of to the top, but right in the middle because we're going to decorate underneath it. So what I am going to do is take that Dollar Tree Spanish moss again, and I'm going to create like a small little nest. Now, what I can tell you, because hindsight's 2020, I wish I had left this Spanish moss a little bit more fuzzy and fluffy. I believe in my opinion, I think I cut too much of it off. I gave it too much of a haircut because I really like the way it looks like the chicken is sitting in a nest. And I kind of gave it way too much of a haircut. But you guys let me know. I think I would have left it a little bit more fluffier, but in any event, it's still cute. Because we are going to add a bunch of stuff around it and it kind of gets hidden. So I think if I'd left it a little bit fluffier with that Spanish moss, you'd be able to see more of it coming through. But it's so cute. It's so cute. I can't help it. So in this event, I didn't actually make a bow this time. I kind of just tied a knot. And then I was thinking about making a bow right there, see? But anyways, I'm going to use that buffalo check finger bow off to the right that I had in my little junk bucket there. Those are all my extra finger bows when I was practicing. So here I'm just taking 3 strands and I'm tying a knot. And then I'm using that knot in the middle. So this is basically almost like an accent piece, you could say. It's not really a bow, but you don't always have to make loops for a bow, guys. Take your ribbon, tie a knot in the middle, and then put a diagonal end on each one of the edges, on the ends of each of those, and you've got a really cute statement piece, and you're still able to use your ribbon. So if you're just not good with bows, or you're not confident, or you're just tired, just put a knot in the middle of it and call it a day, because it's still cute. Even that by itself is cute. Of course, I'm going to trim them a little bit. So here I'm going to add that finger bow that I had already made. I have other videos where I've slowed down finger bows if you would like to see something about a finger bow. I have one of the past videos, I made the finger bow and I've slowed them down many times. And here I'll just trim off some of these raffia edges to make them, I wanted them at least within the frame of the embroidery hoop so that they sit at the right angle. I didn't want them to be too big and like out of proportion. Now these are hangers I've taken off of other pieces. There's just extra pieces of jute. Of course, any excuse to use my little handy desk vacuum. I love that thing, man. So here I'm just taking one of my extra pieces I've taken off of Dollar Tree signs, and I'm wrapping it around the top of the embroidery hoop, around that little metal tightener, and that's my string. There's no fuss, no mess, and I'm using something that I've already saved, so it's already good. And then here's, before you can see I added to the home sign, now I'm adding the boxwood, just one little piece off of that sprig on each side of the chicken. And it's done. Isn't it cute? It's just the perfect little amount of green, just a little amount of green, just a touch in there. And I love it. That gingham bow makes me so happy. Buffalo check, farmhouse. That's the stuff that's, right now, that's part of me, man. That's my soul. Like, I'm literally thinking of redoing so many parts of my house just to add more farmhouse to it. My house is pretty much, I'm almost there, but I'm not like 100%, but I want my house to be one of them Instagram houses. You know, like you don't really use it. It's all for decoration. So you don't sit on things and you don't touch things and you don't actually live in it. Kidding. But that's it, guys. Tell me what you think. That's it. All 5 of these cute little DIYs were so much fun. And I was trying to pick another color theme, not do everything in the green or the green, or no, sorry, not green, that mineral or gray color I've been doing everything in. But this time I just kind of threw everything in. So we've got browns, we got blacks, we got some burnt colors, we've got sticks, we've got natural elements with the moss, we got some green because I can't go without green. But tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. I had so much fun. So thank you guys so much for joining me. If you guys are interested in any of these things, I will be listing items in my coffee page for sale. I'm really needing to get rid of things because I'm starting to lose my mind. I'm running out of space. So take a look at my coffee page. If you feel like you've learned things from me or you want to support the channel, go ahead and buy me a coffee. I would love to have it. Never ever required, but always appreciated. I love every single one of you. And once again, thank you so much for spending your time with me and always coming back and being the best community I could have ever asked for. So with that being said, thank you guys so much. Happy crafting, many hugs, and I see you guys in the next video, okay? Bye-bye.